Hello everyone. This is my first attempt at showing a video walkthrough of one of my albums. I have a very rudimentary setup for my filming, so bear with me. It's also getting very close to evening and my lighting isn't great, but I just wanted to get this video out. So this is my first attempt. Here I go. So this was the album that I created from the Marcy mini book workshop that was offered through Studio Calico, and I kind of did my own version of a cover, but I took an old book and I ended up sewing the pages from the mini album right into the book. And I'm actually going to do another video to show you how I actually went about that, but right now I just want to show you from the class what was the inside pages or the main part of the mini book that I created. So Marcy's book was just kind of a snapshot of her life right now, and so I wanted to do the same, and being we're at the end of August when I started this class, I decided that I would make mine sort of like a capture of the last days of summer. So this is August 2018. And this is what I designed as my title page. One of the things that I love about Marcy Penner's classes is that she always includes some form of a full page photo. And so I wanted to start off with a bang and put in this photo. And then I just kept it very simple because of the background tile. I didn't want it to get too busy, but I added just a little vellum heart over the top that I thought the angles looked really cool there. And then on this corner, just a little note with a stamp from the class. And the stamp set, by the way, from this class is fabulous. I can see using it in many instances beyond just this mini book. So that one was a worthy purchase. Here's my next page. Again, just a very basic white background. I did a large photo here, but not a full-size photo because I wanted to be able to layer the tape, and then I stamped out again from the stamp set just some simple words on a piece of paper and added those layered on top of my photo. And on this side again is a stamp from this class, or I ordered it as part of this class. But it has a hello, and then it has each of the days of the week individually, but I just liked this run and I thought that it worked well with this background paper, and so I just stamped them all in a row to say every day of the week we were out here in the last days of summer and enjoying our backyard as much as possible. Here's another typical, what I would call typical Marcy page. She loves to put in these vellum pages with sort of this peekaboo element, so you can see the photo, hints of the photo on the next page showing through. So I kept it as simple as I could, just one basic photo, square photo. I added a little sentiment there that I had in my stash. And then on this page, I wrote the journaling and added a little gold shimmery heart there. I think this one was from Heidi Swap, and a tag that I actually wrapped around and continued on the back side, because there I was able to use this little stamp that was the yes no, and so I liked that I could make use of the fact that I'm sort of covering up some of this that was showing through from the other side, but it's not just a nothing page, it's tying into this photo now to say a big yes to this, eating out on the patio in the late evening. This page, because I did two sort of sections to my album, I have two centers, and so this is the middle of this first section, and so you can see my gold stitching there. But in Marcy's book, she made her center page more like the one that I did in the second half. So I'll show you that in a moment. But this, because I had two centers, I had to do something here. And so I played off the idea that she had, only I sewed in this little doily to make a pocket and layered just some simple things on top to represent the end of summer. I'm not finished with this page. So that's why I have a little tab there to remind me to come back and do something. But my plan is to do some kind of a quote here, and then I'm just going to add a few more photos into this little pocket that I've created. So I'm coming back to do that. Here's the opposite vellum page now from that first example. Again, it's just two photos side by side that basically go together. I add a little bit of embellishment on the corner here, and I love the gold shimmer down in that corner. Over here I did my journaling again, stamped a little sentiment, and then just attached it with the tiny attacher, the little mini stapler, both the star and this little piece of paper. And again, it just hints to the next photo that you see through. This one is kind of a dark photo, but I love it because it represents, again, late summer and what's the remains of my garden. This is probably my favorite page in the album. It is, again, one that Marcy talks about in her class very specifically. She gives the instructions for doing this sort of take on a grid. Hers looks a little bit different than mine just because I wanted to personalize mine, obviously, but she went with the same idea with circles and then the stitching. She had typed her journaling on strips of white paper. I decided to do mine with vellum because I had some scraps left over. So I typed my journaling on the vellum. I added it on top of this circle. I hope you can read it there, but it just says extending cool evenings with blankets and hot tea. And so obviously that's giving reference to my photo on this side. And then again, just layered one of the stamps on a piece of paper, just white paper, and I layered it right on top of my photo. I did consider stamping right on my photo, but I was too impatient to wait for the ink to dry, so this was my alternate choice. This page you may have seen in my Instagram feed, but again, just a simple page, photo, the stamp from the class, and then I did my journaling on another tag and adhered it to the page. Because this one was a busy background pattern paper, I wanted to cover up some of that so that it's not competing too much, but I did intentionally leave this little bit of yellow showing so that it's playing off the yellow from my photo. And then this is kind of the last spread, because again I mentioned I have the two booklets within this. I ended up having a space between, but I actually don't mind it because the two pages are still connected. And so here again, simple square photo. I put on a little vellum sentiment there, and this one I think is from Maggie Holmes, one of her kits that she has. So I just layered that right there, and then again used a tag. And here is another stamp within this set. So I love that it has the currently stamp, and then it has drinking, loving, and wishing, and then I just filled in each of those responses. Next page, this one was quite busy again with the pattern that was on this page, so I kept this one just a blank white. It was the back side of this page, so that worked out very well for me. And then again, just used the tag with some journaling. This was another one that Marcy mentioned specifically in her class, just the tag and the fact that she had done the stamp in the center, and then her journaling follows through from top to bottom with the stamp in the center. So I like that idea, and I tried to replicate it here. I also brought in the element of the star on the next page, and kind of like how that one fell together. Here's another full page photo, and again added a little circle with one of the stamps just right there on the top of the page. This one I almost stamped directly on my photo, but because the background, there wasn't a lot of just blank white space in the background, I was afraid that maybe my stamp would get lost in that, so I decided again to put it on the white paper. And I like to how it ends up being consistent throughout. In a lot of places where I've stamped, I've done it on a piece of white paper and then trimmed around it. So I kind of ended up keeping that format throughout. And then here I just used some various tags from my stash to do my writing, my journaling, and I layered on just this little vellum and symbol on top of it. Next page again, very simple. The background was dark, which I liked because it highlighted the silhouette of the trees. And if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been talking about how smoky our end of summer was because of forest fires, and so this picture is reflecting that. And so I kind of wanted something that gave a smoky feel for my journaling, so I decided to type my journaling again on a piece of vellum. This time I did it in a strip and then layered it on top. I didn't completely adhere it down, I just ran one length of glue down the center so that the outsides would remain kind of free and give that, you know, that look of sort of smokiness. And then I just put a piece of washi tape at the top to emphasize that it's some writing there. So this is my second center, and this is the one that in Marcy's class she really highlights what she does in her center. I basically copied her here. She has a photo on this left hand side. She did a tag that she folded in half. She also had a piece that she had just in a little embellishment piece that she had attached onto the front, and then her journaling as well I copied in a sense that it flows onto the back of the folded tag. And then this is where she had done just a collection of fun little bits, and so I wanted to pull together some of those colors, so I was looking for the yellows and the blues and kind of the neutral colors, and I ended up with this little collection of pieces that sort of, they have no meaning other than they're pretty, and it does give a nice layering effect when the tag is laying on top of it. So I like how that one kind of ended up. And then because I used this paper clip, it showed through on the other side. So I wanted to add some little bits that look like they've just been tucked in as well here. They are glued down, but just made that sort of layer on top of my photo a little bit. And then again, because it's, you know, a lot of words on the printed side, I kept it simple over here, just pulled out a tag that I had from my stash, did my journaling on that tag, and then again I used one of the stamps from the set on a piece of white paper. This is another page that turned out very fun, and again one that Marcy talks us through in her class, but basically she just took a collection of patterned papers and made strips out of them, glued them on. In her version she had left this outside strip, just the white paper, blank white paper out on the edge, and she did her journaling sort of along here. I liked too many of my papers, so I didn't want to leave any white space. I wanted to use as many of the pattern papers as I could, and so I decided to do my journaling and just kept it very, very simple over here. I didn't want it to compete. Added a little chip or a wood arrow on this side to point to my journaling, and I also intentionally kind of pulled the red from this photo and wanted to highlight the red in the papers that I had chosen over on this side. At one point I considered putting this little tag over here with my journaling, but in the end I liked it better when it sat over there, so I just left this one blank and I love it like that. Here's my final page. This one, again, just a simple photo documenting a story that, or a book that I'm reading. I've added some more little dots that have gold, so I like the shimmer there. This is a vellum heart that I added here, which doesn't look too vellumish because it's glued down, but I still like the black and white contrast that's mimicking the black and white in the book cover. And then over here, this was again what Marcy did a lot of in her mini book, was typing her journaling on white paper and then cutting it into strips and adding it onto her page. And I didn't do that much throughout the rest of my album, but I want to remember this technique, so I wanted to make sure that I had used it at least once in this notebook so that I could remember to do that again in the past. And then this ends up just being the back of that second little notebook. So again, just so that you get a feel, I ended up doing 2 separate little notebooks, and then I just attached them into a hardcover book by sewing it down the spine through the middle of the notebook, and then obviously it shows up on the back of the spine. So that is a walkthrough. It's probably longer than it needs to be, but that's my first attempt at doing a video of an album project that I did. Thanks for watching.